Hello, my loves. I wanted to come to you today with this. And I want to start this off by saying this isn't what you're doing in your business, isn't you. So it isn't you, it is not you. It is how you're building. It is the energy that you're using to build your business with. So let's just get this a little bit more cohesive. It is not you, it is the energy you're building your business with. There. Now that we've muddled that up, we're going to get right into this. So, in your business, have you felt this where you're showing up, you're doing all the things, you're doing all the work, and yet something isn't quite right? It feels a little off. Like you can't quite put your finger on it. It feels disconnected, maybe a little bit heavy, but you know that there's something there. And that's what I wanted to get into today, that there's something there, that your business doesn't feel like you. And maybe there's that sensation that maybe it never did feel like you. Can you actually feel that? And I want to reiterate this again because it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not because you're not enough either. This is about you building something from an energy that is not actually aligned to you in your soul-led business. This is a business built from proving, from urgency, from pushing, like I can feel it. It's just like, I gotta do it. It's like this pressure. And I wanted to just say, like, I know your body's tired of it, but you don't know another way. But what's happening here is your body is asking for presence. Now, let me know if you've ever felt this, like you've taken on a strategy that was somebody else's and it's just not freaking working. Like I've been there like so many times. And so when you've got this, like let's say you have this feeling going on that, doesn't something feel right. It feels like you have to force things. It is a signal that your body is asking for something else. It's not that you need to tweak, because that's exactly what's happening here. This is exactly what's going on. You are sitting there, you're tweaking everything, you're refining your content, you're refining how you show up, you do all of that stuff, and you think that that's going to hit the mark, but it's not going to hit the mark. It's going to be constantly this bracing feeling. Let's look into this bracing sensation. Now, how it shows up, how I've experienced is you anticipate that something's going to happen and you are like micromanaging the environment to make sure that when that thing happens, you can navigate it, that you can tell where it's going to go and mitigate it before it even begins. That's bracing energy. Like you're prepared for shit to hit the fan. And if you are embodying any of this, like this forcing energy or this proving energy or performance energy, this is all part of it, because it takes a while to like actually feel this, and it's like all literally part of it. And I really, really want to emphasize here that there is nothing absolutely wrong with you. What is actually happening here is we bought the story that we need to do things a certain way. And what ends up happening is, this is big, like this is so big. I'm like kind of excited about it. I'm surprised. I shouldn't be. So we bought this story. And so now we feel like, okay, I got to go out there and do it so that I can be seen. And this is essentially what's happening, is that We are pushing and doing all this stuff because we want the validation. We want to be recognized. We want to be loved. And that's essentially what's happening. I know it sounds pretty simplified, but it kind of is. So this is going to look like you're showing up online and you're feeling drained, that you don't know what to talk about, that you launch different things and you feel resistance, like you feel like you have to do it, but you have a resistance to it, and so the launch fails, right? Like there's just so much that we could talk about here, like even like I've caught myself too, like refining like how I operate, how I move, the things that I say, like, oh, maybe this could be clearer, this could be better, this could be, all that stuff. It keeps us in this mindless, endless, incessant mental chatter. And so you are doing everything right. You are. But if it feels heavy, we need to take a better look here. We need to actually ask more questions and dive into this. And I don't want you to drag yourself through this stuff anymore. I want you to actually feel like this disconnect. And the problem with this thing that I find is when we take on somebody else's, let's say, strategy, like, when we buy into the hype, what it does and what's happening here, and this is like the deeper part of this is what's happening, and this is what's going to keep us stuck, is when we try on something that we think we're supposed to do and it doesn't work, we end up feeling bad about ourselves, like we've done something wrong, or there's something wrong with us, that we can't figure this out. And that just makes things worse, because we actually don't feel it, that we feel bad about ourselves. So then we actually show up in our business and we're doing all this extra stuff when it's not even aligned to us. We're like trying to force things, and not force things on people, but our message isn't clear and we're trying to make it clear when it isn't. So it's like this big chaotic mess. And so what's actually happening, all this frustration, procrastination, the struggle to actually create anything in your business where that is actually aligned and where people are like knocking on your door and you're not even talking about it. Like sparse clients, or even like refunds and things like that. This is all about you trying to build a soul-led business, but from survival energy. Soul energy is what we're attempting to do, but we're trying to build it with a survival-based energy. Can you feel that? Can you feel the difference on how much tightness and constriction there is here with the survival-based building of things? And this is how we've been taught to live our lives. We've been taught to live our lives through survival. And when we're here to actually create a soul-led business, so it kind of creates a little bit of like junk here. So that energy of the survival that I've gone like over and over again is designed, and it did keep you safe at one point, but now we're at the point where it's not really keeping you safe. It's actually keeping you small and stuck, and not actually gaining. Well, gaining might not be the right word. It's like when you are more aligned to that, it's totally fine, because it's a signal that there's something else going on here. So I don't ever want you to feel like this is designed to make you feel bad. I mean, essentially, they don't address this. Let's put it that way. When we're out there in the world, and let's say we pay for a coach, and just follow this and you're going to hit 6 figures and you're going to have all the things. What they don't address here is, if it doesn't work for you, you're going to feel bad about yourself. You're going to make it that you are not enough, that you can't figure it out, and it's hard. And that is the honest truth. It doesn't address that, because we automatically go into that, because if it doesn't work, we make it about us, because if it works for somebody else, then it must be me, right? It's that whole thing. So using that energy to build the business that you're actually here to build it's not really going to work. And that's why I wanted to bring this to you today, because we need to be able to see where we're getting stuck so that we can actually create the soul aligned business that we're here to create, because we're here to transform freaking lives and live in our rhythm and truth and all of that good stuff so we can actually make the impact. Now, I do want to say, when we actually move from this energy into the soul-led stuff, you become the invitation. And so I wanted to highlight this because we move from emotional chaos to emotional rhythm. And whether anybody agrees with it or not, our emotions do create the reality that we live in. So if we are building from something that's stuck or whatever, we are creating that stuckness in our reality. This is why I dive into the emotions so much, because it is, I believe they've discovered it in like quantum physics or something. Like frequency is everything. So in a quantum physics part, and I don't know anything about quantum physics, but I do know that if there's some kind of a feeling that isn't inviting, then you're going to be resonating with that non-inviting thing, and you're just going to keep creating from that, and you won't even see it. That's the crazy thing. We don't even see it. But if we're actually open, and when we're open, we actually have the capacity to see more possibilities. We are going to be in that frequency, that energy, and we're going to be drawn to that, and that is going to be drawn to us. So it does make a difference. Your emotions are a big, big, big player here. So becoming the invitation is a soul-led business. And like, how do you even get there? That's like $1 million question. When we're so comfortable with this energy that we don't even see it, we don't realize that we weren't meant to follow someone else's map, that you are actually the freaking map. You are the map, not anybody else. And I have a lovely little note here. You are the freaking map. You can go from forceful growth to, because that's what that other one is. It feels like forceful growth, to organic expansion by being your own map, by actually doing what feels good, like, believe it or not. So I have 3 simple tips to help you. Like, first of all, I want to know, do you recognize this frequency? And second of all, it's fine. You're okay. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just the way things are set up. So we can just dispel that, throw it out right now. You are perfectly fine. This is your opportunity to actually see what else is possible for you. And so with these 3 tips, like the first one I have in my hand here, that a question is to move away from that pressure. So the question is, what can I do? What steps can I take towards feeling presence instead of pressure? Because we feel the pressure to do the thing. But when you ask yourself that question, and you are actually sitting with yourself and everything that's going on, what can you do to presence yourself? And just ask that question. It takes you out of that loop. But I also have 3 other little tips here as well. And maybe when you sit with recognizing that there is pressure here, that you feel like you have to do this thing, and just say, okay, wait a minute, what's happening here? And that's it. That's presencing right there. What is actually happening here right now that I feel so much pressure to do this? And, let the answer come to you. And if it doesn't right away, that's fine. Like, there's no shame in this. You haven't done anything wrong. And I can't say this enough, because it's so true that this is so built up that nobody sees that we actually feel bad when things don't work out. So this is a simple way to actually get into your soul-led business essence, like your actual soul-led life, because your soul-led life is what's guiding your business. It's what you feel is your business. It becomes your life becomes your business. You are your business, essentially. So we're going to reclaim our rhythm by dropping into our body before we do anything in our business. We say, okay, what's happening here? What am I feeling? How do I feel about my business today? Do I feel like this is even necessary? Am I putting this on my I have to do this list? If you spent 5 minutes noticing your energy, how you're feeling before you even start your business, it's going to change the trajectory and what you're going to do in your business. Because maybe you don't need to do any of that. Maybe you just need to take the day off. Maybe you just need to go for a walk and hug a tree. I don't know. But dropping into your body before you do the business, or before you show up for your clients or whatever, is such a profound way to actually understand what's happening and how you're showing up in your business. And when you show up, when you're fully grounded and you're in your body and you can feel it, like, as I sit here in my chair, like, am I so present that I can feel like my butt in the seat? Can I feel my feet on the floor? Okay, so, okay, I'm ready to show up in my business. That kind of thing. How do I feel? Like that stuff. So this is like anchoring your energy into your body, recognizing that, I feel really good, or, I actually feel really tense. And it creates like safety within your body when you recognize what's actually happening. And we do this because your audience needs to feel you. And truth be told, if we are creating from this survival, they're going to feel that energy, that proving energy, that performing energy. And so getting yourself aligned, like, in your body, and you spend that 5 minutes, it actually aligns you with your soul so that they can feel your soul. They can feel your presence. That emotional rhythm is actually leading the show and not the emotional chaos. And it's absolutely crucial to make headway. This is another one of my favorite tips ever. Okay, so this one here is when you move, after you've spent that 5 minutes, 20 minutes, hour, day with yourself. And now it's time to move. Notice, are you moving from panic or are you moving from expansion? Just notice. And if you're moving from expansion, then do it. Go all in. And you're going to notice too that when you move from expansion, you're going to hear like these voices, and it's going to be like, okay, so if I say yes to this thing and it feels so expansive, okay, I'm going to be like crapping my pants right now because this is really terrifying. Say yes anyway. Move in the expansion, even if you feel terrified. And I promise that terrified little self is going to go away. It's going to dissipate. And the same is true for if you move in the pressure. You're going to hear this expansive voice calling you. You're like, oh shit, that's too scary. And you say no to it and you go with the pressure. Yes, you're going to relieve the pressure, but the expansion is going to go away. And will it come back? I don't know. But that's just kind of like, looking at yourself like two different people when you feel like this pressure or expansion. Always take the expansion. It's going to be scary as anything, but do it. Don't listen to that little voice that says, oh, you can't do that, because that little voice was just perfect at the time. It kept you safe. But in reality, like if you look at me right now, I'm in my chair and I'm like in an environment and I can look around and say, yeah, okay, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay here. This is perfect. And it's okay to take that leap. It's totally okay. It's going to terrify the living crap out of you, and that's perfect. because that is your edge, that is your expansion. Be devoted to that scared expansion feeling, because that's the truth of you. That's your highest calling. That's where your soul-led business lives, is in your highest expansion that scares the living crap out of you. I swear, that's where it lives. And it's like scary, super scary. So be in devotion to that expansion. And watch the other stuff just crumble. Because it can't stay. It just cannot stay when you're devoted to your expansion. Okay, so that was moving from expansion or panic. Well, I went off on a tangent there. Okay, so the third one I have here is, you've done all this and you're moving and you're like anchored in your body. I want you to take your offering and anchor it in your body and feel it. How does that freaking offering feel? Can you ground it in there? Can you ask yourself, or can you tell the difference between when it's grounded in your truth and your alignment versus urgency? This is why I want you to anchor this into your body. I want you to ground it into your body so that you can feel the difference. And then I'm just going to turn on the light because it seems awfully dark there. This will give you the green light that if it's actually, when you feel it in your body and anchor it in your body, if it actually feels like it's coming from truth, then do that. And if it feels like it's urgent, then maybe reconsider what it is that you're looking at. Whatever you do that lights you up will have far more impact than any urgency or any performance thing that you've got going on. What lights you up will always bring you further ahead than anything else that you could ever do out of pure obligation. So, ultimately, this is in your capabilities to be able to do this. This is your power. Your emotions are your superpower. And I say this, I swear, in every one of my videos. You have the power to change emotional chaos into emotional rhythm. And this is the work that I do. It's the melting, the unraveling, and the reweaving that happens inside my world. Like, I love that. It's just like, it's so good. And it just feels so good. I just kind of got caught in that for a minute. I was like, oh yeah, it feels really good to like reweave and understand that this actually is within your own power to be able to do this. And so that you can actually build something that's going to last, that's going to be impactful, that people are going to cherish. This is the name of the game, whether you are actually creating a business or you're just living your life. Being able to create that, like your highest calling, is like where it's at as far as I can tell. So if any of this has landed in your body and you want to build something outside of burnout, I invite you into my world. I have an activation call that we meet in the call for the hour face to face, and then we work together for the week so that we could actually peel back some of this stuff and so that you can become more aligned. And so it is like an activation, because sometimes we don't see this stuff. And so when we are activated to unveil this stuff, it actually sparks new things. New creations, new creativity, new ideas. Like, I get some pretty crazy ideas that land. And when I'm not in the noise of all the other stuff. Yeah. Like crazy big ideas. I'm like, wow. And we can be overwhelmed too. It's very easy to be overwhelmed when we're actually in that energy. But actually, you know what? Truth be told, we're not going to get these big, crazy ideas when we're in that other energy of the emotional chaos. We when we are open in our emotional rhythm, we actually get those big ideas. And yeah, they're massive. And the idea is when you're in your emotional rhythm, you're not really, you may feel like overwhelm might be coming on because you're like, whoa, what is this? But if you do one thing at a time, then it's not anything that's overwhelming. You know that these ideas can sit there and they can percolate, and you can, jot down ideas and do one little thing and then come back to it. There's no pressure here. This is all about like being reconnected to yourself and following your own path, your own rhythm. And it isn't going to look like anybody else's. And I think it's so funny, as a perfect example of this, is that when you're on YouTube or any social media, we get sucked into the trap of comparison all the time. But what happens to me here on YouTube, it's so funny, is because all these people, I'm not sure what they're called, but they reach out and say, oh, your channel could be so much better, and and we can get you to the masses. Well, the masses aren't interested in this kind of stuff. And so I'm not going to make myself feel bad because, I'm not appealing to the masses. I'm following my own natural rhythm. This is what I do. This is my natural state. Is following and listening. And sure, I lived in the performance energy where I was like constantly refining and, blah, 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 all that stuff. And this is about trying stuff that works for you, because you're not going to know what's going to work for you unless you try it. So yeah, try on that stuff, the chaos, try on the rhythm and see how that works. It's not a case of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. You have to experience it. You have to feel it and gain the wisdom out of it. And so that's the beautiful thing about these two distinct flavors that I'm talking about, is there's wisdom to be had in the chaos, and there's wisdom to be had in the rhythm. And it is up to us to make that decision of where we want to fall on the spectrum, whether we're this way, in between, swimming in between both, it's fine. There's never anything that you're doing wrong. And if something isn't working for you, that somebody else said for you to do, it's not about you. So do not feel bad that it doesn't work for you, because that is something that is totally not addressed. And I wish I would have seen it in myself, that I wouldn't have made it so personal that there was something wrong with me, because it would have just changed everything. I'd have been like, oh, okay, that's just something that's not going to work. Okay, no problem. It's just incomplete. It's not going to fit exactly what you need. So I invite you into my world. I have a description in the earth. Listen to me go. I have a link in the description box where you can join my world. I would love it if you did, because this isn't everyday stuff. This isn't like, this takes work. This is a state of being. And to catch yourself, like when you're doing that performance thing, oh, I got to do this and I have to do it. It's insane, this cycle. And so I wanted to bring this to you today so that you could feel the difference. You could know the difference and see where you're actually doing this in your own life. Because our business is a reflection of you. So if we're doing that in business, then where else is it being played out? And that's a very good question to take a look at that. And through all this, you're going to find your rhythm. And once you find your rhythm, you're going to be unstoppable. Right now, it's a little bit, even myself, like you sit in that space and you're like, wow, I see all of these things, and, all this creation comes about. And then sometimes things happen and you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this all wrong. And no, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just how things are and has been for a very long time, but things are changing and they are evolving. And through this work, through the business, we are becoming, and you are becoming more in tune with that soul-led living that ripples out into your business. So your business means everything. It is a way to interface with the world, your magic and your wisdom and your aligned rhythms. Like, and people were going to get it. They're going to understand it. So it is absolutely, even though it doesn't look like it because there's so much like chaos out there, it is actually the perfect time to come out with this stuff because we need it more than ever. So I think I better end this now. So remember, no self-censorship. Just let yourself feel yourself, first of all, because that's where we censor ourselves the most. This is where we dismiss ourselves. This is where we, that doesn't mean anything. That's irrelevant. You know, nobody's going to want to hear that. That's where we like swipe our voice underneath the carpet. It's like, nobody's going to want to hear that. No, that's not true. It is not true. We need your voice. We need that. And so I just want to wrap this up by saying thank you to everybody for being here. There's like so much happening now, isn't there? It's insane. And it's such a beautiful transition time. And know that you're okay, because in this transition time, things are going to feel like, whoa, what is happening here? And it's okay. It's because we're facing something new. And this is exactly what we're going for. So say yes to the expansion. And remember my 3 tips. And if you really want to explore this, jump into my world. Oh God, I would love to have you. Let's do this together. So thank you to all my new subscribers. Like, wow. And I will see you on the next video.